What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man. It seems like, according to Eddie Hearn, that there's been a breakthrough. And it looks like the negotiations are actually starting to occur between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. And there's a chance that we might be able to get to see this bout this year in 2018. Very, very good news for boxing. It has definitely been the bout that I've been looking forward to seeing for a while now. I think these guys are clearly been on a collision course, and I'm hoping what has led to this happening is that Anthony Joshua has decided that he wants to push Eddie Hearn into making this fight happen. Now, we know this is Eddie Hearn that's saying this. However, it's Eddie Hearn saying it, so you got to take it with a grain of salt until you see something coming up, till you actually see something happening. But I'll let you know, what the information says. Now, before I say that, I'm definitely going to do a live stream today. Probably, I tried to do one in the afternoon today, man, but work has been kind of bananas, so I haven't been able to get that done for the amount of time that we usually do it, which is like an hour and a half or so, sometimes 2 hours, more than that often. But I definitely will be trying to do one today, and the best way to know about it is to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of when it happens. Definitely have very good conversations on the page with mature boxing fans about a lot of different subjects in boxing, not just the subjects or the headline that are in the titles of the videos that we do, but also pretty much any other topic that comes up in boxing. So we'll definitely appreciate it if you accept my invitation to subscribe and hit the bell icon, and that way you can be notified of when we do it, and then you can participate. Now, let me go through the article. It came out as another Boxing Scene article, which I do believe was their transcript of another meeting that had taken place. But let me go through it, and then we can discuss Hearn. I'm very confident Joshua versus Wilder happens in 2018. As BoxingScene.com previously reported, WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder says he is willing to face Anthony Joshua in Britain in a fight for the undisputed crown. Britain Joshua, who's 21-0, collected his fourth world heavyweight title belt on Saturday when he defeated Joseph Parker in Cardiff, and then challenged Wilder to fight in Britain. He didn't quite do that, but I'll roll with it for the sake of the argument, for the sake of the article. The WBC title is the only one remaining on Joshua's radar after he added the WBO championship to his WBA, IBF, and IBO titles by defeating New Zealand's previously unbeaten Parker on Saturday by unanimous decision. After defeating Parker, Joshua called for a fight with Wilder, which was music to the big puncher's ears. Anthony, I am so glad we finally heard from you on Saturday, and that you want to fight me as your next opponent, and you want the fight to happen in the UK, Wilder 32 said in a statement. I accept that challenge, and I'm ready to come to the UK for my next fight. There is nothing on Team Wilder's side to prevent me from fighting you next. Thanks, Anthony. I can't wait to meet you in the ring. Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, denied suggestion that he's ducking the fight and said he is actively trying to make it. Since Saturday, Hearn has already spoken with Showtime and with Wilder's manager, Al Heyman. Once again, it was me initiating the conversation. I called Al Heyman's team yesterday and spoke with Showtime last night, and discussions are ongoing. I have a meeting with Anthony Joshua and trainer Rod McCracken tomorrow where we will map out the rest of 2018, Hearn told Sky Sports. I will say it once again, the window for fighting Wilder is 2018. Otherwise, we will risk it not being an undisputed fight. Anthony wants the fight, and I'm very confident that it will happen. Okay. So says Eddie Hearn. I really wish that I couldn't find with this. Here's the thing with Eddie Hearn. Now I'm not going to say that this fight can't happen because I've been wrong in recent memory. In recent memory, with the fight that I didn't think a promoter was going to let happen because he kept acting like he didn't want it, like he didn't want it, like he didn't want it, and that was Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Vasyl Lomachenko. And then right when we think the fight's never going to happen, and it's not going to happen, then it winds up that Vasyl Lomachenko versus Guillermo Rigondeaux fight is made. And so being fresh off that memory, despite Eddie Hearn's propensity to mince words, to flat out lie, to contradict himself, to talk in circles, to talk out both sides of his neck, I'm going to say out here with hope that this bout can happen. And it can happen, I do believe, if Anthony Joshua is the one that really is pushing and saying that he wants the fight to happen. When Eddie Hearn says, I called Al Heyman's team yesterday, and I spoke with Showtime last night, and the discussions are ongoing. See, this is Eddie Hearn we're talking about. And since, I'm a big believer when you catch somebody lying, once you catch somebody lying, it's so hard to believe what they say. The line that starts this quote is, once again, it is me initiating the conversation. Like I said, the dude's a liar, so you got to look at every word this guy puts out. Once again, did that mean that you were initiating conversations before? That's not what Shelly Finkel said. What Shelly Finkel said was he spoke to Barry Hearn, and that then Eddie Hearn was supposed to reach out to Shelly Finkel, and then Shelly Finkel responded to him, and they never heard back from Eddie Hearn. That's the last time that I heard. But okay, Fast Eddie, you initiated the conversation. All right. I called Al Heyman's team yesterday. What does that mean? Called them to say what? Called them to say, look, we'll fight for 10%, or look, I'll deal with you, but I don't want to talk to Shelly Finkel. Why didn't you call Shelly Finkel? Deontay Wilder said talk to Shelly Finkel, but he called Al Heyman's team. I'm not sure if that's the person that you should be talking to when you're trying to work out the deal that's going on. Because Al Heyman, my understanding, is a manager. Is a advisor for Deontay Wilder. I don't know that he is a manager for him. I believe that he was an advisor, similar to Sean Porter. He's an advisor to Sean Porter, but he's a manager. But Kenny Porter is the manager. But clearly, Al Heyman is important in the picture because he's in the PBC, and Deontay Wilder fights with the PBC on that platform. Okay, then you spoke with Showtime last night. What did you talk about Showtime with? Yeah, Showtime, we want to see this fight happen, and yes, I know that, what we're going to do is I'm going to meet with Anthony Joshua. And did anything actually happen in that conversation? Let's hope that it did. And then you have a meeting with Anthony Joshua and trainer Rod McCracken where we're going to map out the rest of 2018. Okay, when you say that you're going to map out for the rest of 2018, do you mean that you're going to talk to Deontay Wilder about fighting Anthony Joshua? You're going to talk to Anthony Joshua about fighting Deontay Wilder? Or are you going to advise him to fight Deontay Wilder? Or are you going to, what's going to happen? Now, I know these aren't things that he can say to Sky Sports, right? But like I said, I'm not going to write off that this fight can happen because I've done that before, and I thought that other fights weren't going to get made. I am not Nostradamus. I am not a fortune teller. So, hey, I'm not, I don't got tea leaves out here in front of me. You know what I mean? I can only go on what I read, but it's just so hard to believe anything that comes out of the mouth of Eddie Hearn when I've caught him myself lying on a dang near daily basis. And when it seems like he lied in the first sentence of this quote, I will say it once again. The window for fighting Wilder is 2018. Otherwise, we will risk it not being an undisputed fight. Okay, so you're reiterating what you said before, that the window is very small. Yesterday, they said that they anticipated Deontay Wilder fighting Dominic Breazeale, right? Are they going to have the IBF call a mandatory real quick? You know what I mean? Like, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. But this article that came out, it's just so many. Like I said, man, if it was a situation where it was somebody that you could believe, that you knew if they said that a fight was going to happen, that you could believe that the fight was going to happen, there was somebody that was going to actually work for the fight, and it's not somebody that's going to tell you that they think the fight can happen, but then try to do their absolute best not to make it happen. In the last couple days, I've heard Jarrell Miller. I've heard Jarrell Miller. I've heard Alexander Povetkin for Joshua, and he says we got a very small window. That's the same thing that he was saying last week before the fight. But hey man, we'll see. But if this was like a Don King, if this was Don King, I believe the fight would be happening. And this is who I'll tell you why I'll believe. I'll believe it when that the fight is seriously being negotiated. It's going to be when I hear DiBella talk about it. When I hear DiBella talk about it, then I'm going to start saying, okay, this is serious. Because DiBella sits there and looks at these conversations like, man, this fight ain't happening. Eddie Hearn's a juvenile. And he's lying out of his backside 90% of the time. Now I'm paraphrasing that last bit of the sentence for DiBella. But that's when I'll believe it. Now I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but just the phrasing of it from Deontay Wilder, where Deontay Wilder's like, man, hey, I'm really happy that you called me out. I look forward to having this fight. I'd be more than happy to come to the UK and fight you in the UK. And there's nothing preventing this from being my fight. I mean, my next fight. Everything that I've seen from Deontay Wilder tells me that Deontay Wilder wants this fight. The quote that we're in this article, and it's just interesting to me that the guys that they phrase these things the way that they phrase them. Where he says in this article that what is this part? I'm sorry, forgive me. It's weird. It's where they mention that he was that he called him out. Right. Britain Joshua collected his 4th world heavyweight title belt on Saturday when he defeated Joseph Parker in Cardiff, then challenged Wilder to a fight in Britain. No, he didn't. He didn't challenge him to a fight in Britain, to be honest. They asked him the question 3 times, and the first time he said, look at all my belts. Why wouldn't I want to fight? Why wouldn't I want the 4th belt? You see, he went out of his way to not say Deontay Wilder's name. And then maybe the second time, but at the most, I think the 3rd, he said, but because Sky Sports stayed on him about it. And credit to Sky Sports for that. Sky Sports said, what about Deontay Wilder? Or pretty much, I'm paraphrasing what they said, but they really started to push it, right? And then he says, yeah, well, like Dillian White said, let's go, let's go. He said, like Dillian White said. He just quoted Dillian White. He didn't say that he wanted to fight. What does let's go mean? Let's go. Yeah, let's make it happen. Blah. Do you or do you not want to fight Deontay Wilder in your next fight? Yes or no? Anthony Joshua. Yes or no, do you want him next fight? If he says something like, well, like my man said, let's go, let's make it happen. That's not an answer to the question. Let's make what happen? Do you mean exactly, sir? I'm sorry, I don't need the cliches. I don't want to hear that. Specifically, what do you want to have happen? Do you intend to fight Deontay Wilder in a boxing ring in your next fight for the championship belts in the sport of boxing? Oh man, dog. But it is what it is, man. I'll hold out hope, man. I'll hold out hope, dude. But I still maintain my real belief though is that this isn't any closer to the fight actually happening. That's my belief. My belief is that it's not any closer to happening. Now, the ratings came out yesterday. I would like to end this video though on a discussion about these ratings that came out last week. Came out for Anthony Joshua's fight with Deontay Wilder. I did a video on it, but enough people made comments about it that I, towards the tail end of this video, I want to make mention of it. Anthony Joshua's numbers against against Joseph Parker were decent numbers. They were decent. They weren't great. They weren't poor. However, you can, by all means, compare the numbers for Anthony Joshua to the numbers with Deontay Wilder, because there was an evening show. Many people said in the comment section, well, this is at 5:30. This is at 5:30. People aren't available at 5:30. Well, then let's just do it the way they did it in the article where they announced it. Just combine all the numbers from all the replays. Let's just look at one showing of Deontay Wilder's fight, which was average 1.1 million, peaked at 1.2 million, and compare it to all the showings of Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker. The one at 5:30, the one at 7:30, and the one the next morning. Which means in comparing it to equalize for it, let's compare one primetime showing for Deontay Wilder in the United States with 3 showings of Anthony Joshua, which means we're going to give people that wanted to watch the Anthony Joshua fight with Parker not only 3 opportunities to see it, but we'll also count anybody that watched it twice as if they were their own unique viewer. So if I watched it one time and then I watched it again and then I watched it again, I'm going to give 3 for Anthony Joshua from one person. And all I'm going to do is compare it to Deontay Wilder the first time through. He still does almost 400,000 more in one showing than Anthony Joshua got in all 3. That, my friend, is a fair comparison. If all you did was compare 5 o'clock in the afternoon to a primetime show, that would be unfair. Arguably, that would be unfair. But if you compared the 2 primetime numbers with each other, then that should be fair. But like I said, I want to make sure that I'm triply fair. Matter of fact, I want to make sure that I use a measurement that's unfair to Deontay Wilder by allowing Deontay to count one show of Deontay Wilder's against 3 of Joseph Parker and Anthony Joshua. 1 Deontay Wilder, if I said that name wrong, forgive me, to 3 airings of the Anthony Joshua-Joseph Parker fight, and Deontay Wilder still comes out ahead by almost 400,000 views. That tells you that Deontay Wilder is more popular in the United States than Anthony Joshua, but also, since Deontay Wilder has the best TV ratings of anybody on HBO or Showtime this year, regardless of the adjustment for the fact that HBO is bigger, but if you adjust it for the fact that HBO is bigger and increase his show by 30%, he's closer to 1.5 million views compared to HBO. That tell you it's It's not a case of Anthony Joshua being unknown. It's just a case of Deontay Wilder having a good, solid fan base. Is it a gigantic fan base, bigger than anybody in the sport of boxing? No. But also, the fact that he's from the United States can be considered when you think, really, if it's just because Anthony Joshua is not from the United States, then what about Manny Pacquiao? Because Manny Pacquiao is from the Philippines, and he did $2.5 million or $3 million on ESPN. There are popular fighters that are popular in the United States that aren't from the United States. But anyway, let's see if it happens. And with that, I'm out. Peace.